Hello, grade 3. All right, now that we've taken a brief look at 2D shapes, which you've learned in kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, and now grade 3. So it's just a refresher. We took a look at polygons. We're going to take a look now at 3D shapes. So we have a couple of I can statements. I've only written down the one here. I can describe 3D shapes using the words faces, edges, and vertices. But we also want to say I can understand the difference between a pyramid and a prism, and the difference between a cylinder, cone, and sphere. So we will take a look at that today. You'll have a little bit of work at the end. However, it's only 2 pages. It shouldn't take you very long, and you have all the way until Sunday to send it to me, okay? So let's take a look. So first, hop off, go watch this video, sing along with the chorus of the song. It's so much fun. I love Number Rock, and they do a great job of talking about some of our 3D shapes. Once you're done, you can come back here. All right, so here are our key terms. We have 3 important terms. 1 is faces, 2 is edges, and 3 is vertices. So the face is the flat or 2D part of this shape. So if here's my 3D shape right here, okay? This is what I would call a rectangular prism because every single side on it is a rectangle. Pretty cool. So this flat part here, this flat part here, here, all of these flat pieces are called the faces, okay? Now the edges are along here. See that right there? It's where the faces meet, okay? They come together and they form an edge. It's not a corner because it's not just a point, it's a whole line. It's a straight line that connects them, but it is called an edge, okay? Now, vertices are the corners. So that's these little corners right here. There's some all the way around, okay? There's some over here as well, and they are called vertices. That's our math word for corners. We're not going to say corners, we're going to say vertices. That's when we're talking about more than one. If I'm just talking about one vertice, or one vertex, see, I already did it. If I'm just talking about one corner, it's a vertex. If I'm talking about more than one, they are called vertices, okay? So let's explore some of these. See if we can figure it out. All right. So here is a cube. I'm going to zoom a little bit because he's pretty small. This is my cube. Looks kind of funny, but that's because I still have to turn him around so we can see. All right. So I'm going to rotate him around so you can see all of his faces. I can't put a mark on it right now just because of what I'm using. But if I were to count, let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. My cube has 6 faces, okay? The flat 2D part is called the face. Now the edges is where it gets a little bit tricky because there's 4 edges here, and there's 4 edges here, and there's 4 edges here, and 4 edges here. There are quite a few edges in this, okay? Vertices are the corners, so we can see them here, 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 and here. And down there, there are 8 of those, okay? So if we show the total, there are actually 12 edges. 1, 2, there's one back there, 3, 4, then the 4 on top, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 4 on the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 12 edges, okay? Let's take a look at one of our other shapes. So let's look at this guy right here. This is called a tetrahedron, but we don't use that word. We are going to use the word pyramid. So if you've seen a pyramid, you know it has a triangular base like this. That's what it stands on, okay? And it has faces as well. So I've got the faces showing, but if we counted, we have 1 here, 2, 3, and then I'm counting the base as a face because it's still a 2D triangle, okay? Then if we are looking at the edges, let's look at it from this perspective. Each of these straight lines is an edge. We're looking at it from the top, bird's eye view, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if we look at the points, we know that this guy's pointy. This is a vertex. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let's take a look at another one. Wow, this one's fancy. We don't need to know the name of this shape in grade 3, but there are lots of faces here. There are 8 faces, there are 12 edges, and 6 vertices. I can send you this if you want to play around. Wow, this one has so many. The shapes kind of remind me of the shapes on a soccer ball, but it's not round. Wow, so many. All right, let's see. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any more that I can rotate like that. However, I did want to make sure that we took a look at that at least, okay? So let's take a look here. This one is pretty cool because it shows us each of those sides. It's like if it was a see-through 3D shape. But these are some of our main 3D shapes, okay? We have a sphere. A sphere to me looks like a basketball or a soccer ball or a golf ball, a tennis ball, anything of that sort, okay? So something about spheres, they are very special. They don't have straight lines on them. So they don't have any corners or vertices. They don't have any edges either, okay? They're very smooth. But they do have one face. All the way around is one face because it never stops. It never meets another edge to make a new face. So it's always just one. So my pyramid, I think, looks like the pyramids in Egypt. That's what I think of, okay? They have 1, 2, 3, 4 faces. And what's different about this one second, is that we could technically write 5 there because they have a face on the bottom that we call the base. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to write 5. I could write 5 or I could write 4 and 1 base. That is up to you, okay? But I'm gonna put 5. Now, vertices, those are the corners or the points. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 again. Now, how many edges do we have? 1, 2, I'm gonna mark them off so you know we've counted them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It has 8 edges, okay? My cone looks like an ice cream cone. Now I really want ice cream. I might have to have some dessert afterwards. So here's my cone. Now this one is special because it has 2 faces, okay? So it does have a base at the bottom. I would typically say 1 face and 1 base, or you could say 2 faces and I would count that, okay? Has a point at the top, just 1 vertex, okay? And then it has an edge. The thing about this is that it doesn't make a perfect corner, but if I were to hold up my cone, I unfortunately don't have an example of a cone in my house. If I were to hold it up, I could feel where that changes. So I am going to say 1 edge. All right, my cube looks like a dice, okay? It has how many faces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 faces, okay? Then for edges, or edges, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, then it has some more down here. 5, 6, 7, 8, if you remember from our activity before. 9, 10, 11, and 12. It has 12 of those straight lines, so it has 12 edges. Then for our vertices or our corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, up here we have a cuboid. So this is called a cuboid. That's because the edges here, or the 2 faces on these ends, are square, okay? Up here, they're showing a tissue box, which is actually more of a rectangular prism because every single side is a rectangle. But this one down here is a cuboid because they have squares, okay? So let's see how many faces it has. 1, 2 that are the same here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 6 faces in total. Edges, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 again. Interesting. Sorry, that's for the edges. Now the vertices. once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So why do you think that these two are not called the same thing? Well, if you look at their faces and the shapes that they're made of, this one has rectangles, but this one just has squares, okay? So that's the difference there. Last but not least, our cylinder friend. Our cylinder has 1, 2, this whole wraparound is a face, and 3. So 3 faces, or you could say 1 face and 2 bases, which we've talked about a little bit as well, okay? I'm just gonna get rid of my line here for us. This one still does not have any vertices. There are no points or corners here, but I would be able to feel around this. So here is a cylinder. Here's a face because it's flat and smooth. Here's one, and here's one. Now I can feel where these two meet those. This is an edge and this is an edge. So my cylinder has 2 edges, all right? So let's see, do we think this is a pyramid or a prism? So pyramids and prisms are different. They look similar sometimes, but there's a special way to find out if it's a prism or a pyramid, which are 2 different categories or ways to sort some of our 3D shapes. So a pyramid doesn't have any rectangular faces, okay? It can have a point up at the top, a very, very pointy vertex, and it only has 1 base. So once again, I unfortunately don't have an example. I wish I brought some shapes from school, but if I had my pyramid and it had all of its faces like this, it has a base at the bottom, so it can sit like this. If I were to flip it over, it would be on its point and it wouldn't be able to stand up. So it only has 1 base that it can sit on, okay? Then if it's a prism, it does have rectangular faces and it has 2 bases because if I flip it over, it can still sit flat, okay? It can sit there perfectly fine. So if it's a pyramid, it doesn't have rectangular faces and it has 1 base. If it is a prism, it has rectangular faces and more than 1 base. So let's decide which ones of these are prisms and which ones are pyramids. So this one here, right off the bat, I can see a rectangle right here. Can you see it? And I can see that there's more than 1. Now, if I look at the base, which is this bottom part here, I can see there's one right up top that looks exactly the same. If I flipped it over, it would be able to stand there. It can be flipped over and it has rectangular faces. So I am going to write a PR for prism. Okay, let me just get my pen here. Apologies for my not great writing. It's kind of hard to write on the computer. So let's take a look at this one. It has a base here. Its base is the shape of a square, which is pretty cool. There's its big pointy vertex up at the top. And if I flipped it over and it was sitting on its vertex, it wouldn't work. This is a pyramid, P for pyramid. This one is made up of triangles. Although it can sit on different sides, it can only ever sit on 1 base because if you flip it directly over, it would be on its point again and it would fall over, okay? So this is also a pyramid. Right here, there's the base right there. I can see it. It is a rectangle, but it only has the 1 rectangular face, okay? So this one's a very special shape called a rectangular pyramid because the base is a rectangle. The reason I can't call this a prism, even though it has a rectangular face, is because it only has 1 base, okay? It has to have both of these rules or both of these rules to fit in the category. So because it has the vertex up at the top and 1 base, this is a pyramid. I guess I could have just put the P again. Whoops. Okay. This one right here. Did you know that squares and rectangles are very similar? Yeah, they both have 4 sides. This one does not have the vertex up at the top or 1 base. This one I could flip over. So this one is going to be a type of prism, okay? This one right here, once again, right off the bat, I can see a rectangle and I can see that there are more rectangles all the way around. I can see the base here And I can see that if I flipped it upside down, it would still be able to sit on the same shape of base. It would be flat there. So this right here is a prism. Now this one right here, I want you to try. Think about it and then I'll tell you the answer. If you guessed pyramid, you are correct. It has one base and a vertex up at the tippy top. And there are no rectangles, okay? So this is a pyramid. This one right here has, once again, some rectangular faces. And the base and the top are the same, so if I flipped it over, it would be able to sit there. It has two bases, so it is a prism. This one right here, is this a pyramid or a prism? Well, let's take a look at our rules. Does it have any rectangular faces? That's a big difference. No rectangular faces, and like I said, both rules have to apply. So this cannot be a prism because there are no rectangles. It has to be a pyramid. Same with this one here. I don't see any rectangles, but I do see one base and one vertex, so it is a pyramid. This one right here does not have that pointy vertex up at the top. If I flipped it over, it would do just fine. So it has more than one base. So this is a prism. And last but not least, our friend right here, although I see a point here, it also has one here. If I rolled it, if I flipped it, it would do just fine. This is actually very similar and just laying on its side. This would be the base right here. And that would be another base over there. So it has two bases. It is a prism. Not only that, if you take a look, let me just switch my color here so it's a little bit more clear to see. This is a rectangle over here, this face, okay? So that is how we decide if it is a prism or a pyramid. Remember, if it is a prism, it has two bases and it has rectangular faces. If it is a pyramid, it has no rectangular faces and only one base, and oftentimes just a tip up at the top, a nice sharp vertex, okay? Let's take a look at our next page here. All right, so here is your job, your first page, okay? You are not doing this page right here. We're just gonna talk through that. Your job for prisms and pyramids is just this page here, just 97. Don't send me 96, don't do 96, just 97 for prisms and pyramids, okay? So this just tells you again that a prism and a pyramid are different. So a pyramid has one base, a prism has two bases and some rectangular faces. One thing that I didn't mention is that pyramids almost always have triangular faces in them. They have some triangles, okay? So down here, what it wants me to do, which we'll do together, is it wants me to color the pyramids blue. So I have my blue ready. I'm gonna take a look. So, this one I see rectangular faces and two bases. So even though the bases are triangles, because I see those rectangles, because it doesn't have the vertex right up at the top, that is a prism, so I'm not coloring that blue. Over here it has one base and a vertex. That to me is a pyramid. All right, just gonna move this over. I know you can't see it, but it's in my way. There we go. All right, this one, that's not a pyramid. It has two bases and rectangular faces. Two bases and rectangular faces. Ooh, one base and a vertex and some triangle faces. So there we go. Now it wants me to color the prisms red, so I am gonna color all the other ones red because the rest of them are my prisms. You would probably do a better job of coloring if you had to do this page, but I'm just doing it quickly on the computer. So your job for pyramids and prisms is just page 97. You are going to take a look at the object. You're gonna decide if it's a pyramid or a prism. You're gonna write how many faces it has. Remember, faces are the flat 2D parts, okay? You're gonna write how many edges you see. Those are the straight lines, right? And then vertices, the corners. So you're gonna fill that in. Now this one down here, you're going to name each object and the shapes of its faces. You're gonna come up with a name. You can also, with mom or dad's help, use Google to find the name of these shapes if you absolutely need, okay? Because we're still just learning to talk about them. But you are going to tell the shapes of its faces. So for this one, I would take a look, I would see what shapes I see and I would write them down. And I would say there are 2 of whatever I say this shape is, and there are 1, 2, 3 of whatever I think this shape is, okay? Last but not least, you're gonna draw the other base and attach it. So you're gonna turn this guy into its prism, okay? So that is part 1, just this page right here. Now what we're going to do, well, I recommend pausing here, stopping the video, go and do this, because now we're gonna talk about cones, cylinders, and spheres, and then do a little activity on that. So pause here, finish that page, put it away. You can come back to this lesson later and do this second part if you'd like, or you can keep going right now and just get it all done. That's up to you. I am going to continue. All right, so now we need to talk about cylinders, cones, and spheres. So I was really hoping that this website would let us turn some cylinders, cones, and spheres around, but it really doesn't want to do that, so we're just gonna take a look at it on here. So cones, they kind of look similar to pyramids. The difference is there are no triangle faces. See, it wraps all the way around. There's only one edge and the bottom's a circle. That's how we know that it's not a pyramid, because it doesn't have those flat triangle faces for us, okay? A sphere is a ball. It's just round all the way around. And a cylinder always has a circle and a circle. So 2 circular bases, and then it's attached right there by a kind of like a wrapped around rectangle, okay? So let's see if we think it's a cone, a cylinder, or a sphere. So remember, a cone is like an ice cream cone, okay? A sphere is like a ball, and a cylinder is like my candle or a tin can or something of that sort. So let's see here what we can come up with. Let's take a look at this one right here. This one, to me, looks like a ball. So I'm going to say that it is a sphere. This one right here looks like it would have 2 bases that are circular. And what we just talked about is that is a cylinder. I'm going to put CY for cylinder. This one right here, it doesn't have triangular faces, but it does have a circle for a base and a vertex. So that for me is my cone. That looks like an upside down ice cream cone to me. Over here we have, these 2 look very similar. I believe that this one also has 2 circles and so 2 bases. So this is also a cylinder. I see another ball, so that's my sphere. And here I have a cone and a cone. All right. All right. Now, for this part, once again, your job is just this second page, page 99. I'm doing this. Do not send me this. Do not do it. Just for me. I mean, you can copy it down if you'd like, but you are not sending me this page. No 98, just 99. Got it? All right, so once again, it's taking a look. It's telling us about the number of faces, edges, and vertices, okay? And it's really helping you out here because it tells you what each of those shapes has. So if the shape is a cone, it has 1 vertex, it has 1 edge, and 1 face. That's never going to change. That's always going to be the case. If it's a cylinder, it has no vertices, no corners, okay? It has 2 edges, because I could feel the edge here, like I did on here, and here, okay? And it has 2 faces, okay? Well, 2 bases. So 1, 2, okay? We're gonna say bases, because technically we could count this as a flat face, so I wouldn't fault you if you wrote 3, okay? But we're gonna mostly talk about just the bases on that one. And a sphere, 0, 0, and 0, okay? I would not fault you if you said that it has 1 face and that all the way around is a face. I would be fine with that because that makes sense to me, okay? So if you said it has 1, and for this one, if you said it has 3, because you counted the side, that would be okay. But technically, if we're talking about faces, this is a face, and this is a face. They're also bases, but this is a face and this is a face, okay? So what I want you to do just with this worksheet is I want you to follow what they've got here already. So you're just gonna do follow their rules, say 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 0, 0, 0, okay? So that's how that's gonna go. So down here, we're just gonna say what shape it looks like. This ball, to me, matches this one here. I'm gonna say sphere, and I'm writing the full word. I'm not just writing a letter. Right here, I'm gonna look up and see which one this matches. It has the circle up top. That to me looks like a cylinder. Ooh, a traffic cone. It's even in the name, okay? This is a cone. This one has a circle up here and at the bottom. This to me looks like another cylinder. Hey, an ice cream cone. Once again, it's even in the name. That's a cone. And last but not least, we're not looking at the whole shape, just the main part of the globe, and a globe is round like a ball, so that is a sphere. So your job for this page now is what you're going to do is you're going to go walk around your house and see if you can find an object that matches each of these, a cone, a sphere, and a cylinder. You're going to write down what that item is. So maybe my Pringles can, maybe my candle, maybe my roll of paper towel. It's up to you. Maybe a ball, maybe I have a marble, something like that. Maybe I have ice cream cones or a party hat, something like that, okay? Then you're going to write the number of vertices that your shape has, the number of edges and faces, okay? Number 2, Pietro is saying that a cylinder has more faces than it has edges. Is he correct? So I want you to use this to help you answer that question, okay? Focus on this. And then stretch your thinking is a challenge. I want you to try and draw those things, okay? And that is your second page. Shouldn't take you very long, probably about 10, 15 minutes maybe, okay? And then you can send that to me. Once again, you still have till Sunday, so you can do this second part of the lesson another time if you'd like, but make sure you get me those pages for Sunday, okay? So that we can move on. All right, thank you. Have fun.